Welcome to Spiritual Vacancy, the space where we stop running from the void and start filling it. I'm Brooke Ann, I'm a professional psychic medium, and in each episode, we dive deep into the practices, stories, and insights that turn spiritual hunger into spiritual wholeness. If you've been feeling like something is missing, you're in the right place. Let's fill the gap together, and your journey starts now. Hey, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are listening into the podcast today. I have the honor of having Elton from L10 Media here this morning, and I'm just going to kind of talk about him a little bit before he gets into his journey because he has lived an amazing life already. He was born in Detroit, he's lived in California, he moved to Florida, he had his own TV show, he had his own production company. And he started off in pharmaceutical sales, and this all kind of that was part of his path to hate his job and go into a different direction. And then he went into having his NDE in 2019, which completely changed his path. He's also a intuitive human design analysis. He is also starting his own online coaching business, and he's an amazing soul. So I want to thank you, Elton, for allowing me to interview you today, and thank you for being here.
Brooke Ann, thank you for the introduction and thank you for having me. This is amazing. It's so aligned.
Oh my gosh, definitely. I met Elton on TikTok actually, and
Hmm.
I feel like I manifested him because I was like, I want people with NDEs and that are fascinating, and he's also traveled to over 90 countries, and which is like for me totally out of my realm because I've been to Tijuana and that's it outside of the US, and I don't even know if that counts. So I cannot wait to hear about your story. So you actually grew up and you were born and raised in Detroit, and then you
Yep.
went to school in Florida. What was the
Mhm.
draw to go to Florida?
The cold, hands down. I think. No, yeah, I grew up in Detroit and grew up with I had an amazing childhood. My mom and my dad made sure that me and my sister were well taken care of. We played sports, did trips, and life was awesome. But I remember every year, my birthday's in March, and every year on my birthday there was a blizzard. And I said, I cannot do this for the rest of my life. And I made a decision at 10. I was watching the episode of Miami Vice, and I said, that's where I'm going to move. So that was the decision for Florida.
And that's what drew you there. And then you went to school and you got into
Yep.
pharmaceutical sales. And
Yeah.
it was actually, was it draining you doing that? It just didn't feel like it was your purpose.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So you got to think about it. So this is 2000. I went to college in 2005. I graduated, and I think we talked in the pre-chat about just like this masculine energy, and
Mhm.
so my whole idea of presenting myself was just through success. And at the time, I was in the closet, so I was hiding that I was gay. So what I did was like, I have to be the best at everything. I have to make the most money. So when I graduated college, it was the kind of like succeeding past my shadow, if that makes sense.
Mhm, it does.
And so at 24, I was making six figures, company car, company credit card. I bought my first house at 24. So I had all of the external things. And on the inside, I'm hiding my sexuality and I don't really have wholeness in my identity. So that was an interesting period. But I was in my 20s, so we all kind of
Oh,
fly.
yeah, we're all going through a lot of changes in our
Yeah.
20s, trying to find out who we are. So you actually knew you were gay your whole life, pretty much?
Yeah, yeah. I knew I was gay from first kindergarten. I just knew that I had attraction to guys and girls, but I had a sense of self. And when we go further in here in the conversation, I'll tell you who I was in the past life, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
I want
Okay.
I want to give the listener something to look forward to.
Oh, oh, don't worry. This whole episode, they're going to be looking forward to it, Alton. Don't worry. You've already drawn them in, I promise. With coming out though, was that after you left the pharmaceutical because of that masculine energy?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, no, this is a great question. So ultimately, I worked in pharmaceutical sales for about 3 years. I was super successful. And I was so successful at the job that you would win different prizes. And I ended up winning a camera at my job. And with the camera, I said, well, let me start taking pictures. So during the week, I would go to Barnes and Noble during lunch and like look at every photography book. And then after work, I would look at every blog and website I could find. You got to remember, this is 2007. So it's not
They
like,
didn't have cell phones, really.
it's not a lot going on here. It wasn't even social media wasn't even around.
No.
And um, so I just became obsessed with photography. And I had never been like a creative before. I was always in sales and business. And after a year, I literally got a passport, my first passport. I got my first skateboard, and I quit my job
Wow.
because I had seen in my territory, I had seen guys surfing on a Tuesday, and I was like in a red Jeep Wrangler, and I said, I want that life. And I said, maybe I can do it through photography. So that was my first kind of whisper. I like to say I've gotten whispers along my journey. And that was the first kind of whisper to take that big leap and quit my job. So this is 2008. And so everybody thought I was crazy. They were like, you're not a photographer. You're not, my parents were like, what, you wanted to be a salesman your whole life? Like nobody could understand. And I couldn't understand it either, but I had to listen to that whisper. And so glad that I did because I hopped right into, I had a little bit of money saved and I put my house up for rent. So financially, I was like always a good steward. And then, and then I just went on an adventure. So then that's when I started going to my first countries and traveling and shooting and just figuring out life from this new perspective.
Which is amazing too that you just like went with it. You trusted that whisper, your intuition, because so many
Mhm.
people, they would not have done that. They would not have just quit and taken
At
that leap of
all.
faith and been like, you know what, I want this, so this is what I'm going to do. Because that's fascinating that you just dove in, like
Yeah, it
pretty much
was.
head first with no experience in any part of it. You're just like, I'm doing it. I'm going to do this because I feel drawn to it and that's what I want.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was literally just full trust and full surrender. So
And so that kind of led you into having your own TV show, your own production company, right?
yeah, yeah, roughly. So I would say around 2008, 2009, the quickest way you could make money back then was like shooting weddings. That was a good way for you to
Ah,
enter in because ultimately I wanted to do commercial and celebrity photography.
mhm.
So I started doing weddings and immediately my wedding career went through the roof because I used to write a blog. So again, there was no Facebook. Facebook just started, but it was very limited.
Yeah,
But there was no Instagram, there was nothing.
no.
And I used to write a blog all the time. So that's why I always loved writing. And I would shoot a couple and then I would write up about the couple. And my number one source of referrals was always single women because they would read my blog and they say, Elton, you make me feel like I could find love. You make me feel
Aw.
like love is out there for me because the words and the pictures will always go together so nicely. And so, honestly, single women were the reason why my career took off as a wedding photographer.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right. And then yeah, so then after like, and I shot weddings all over the world, so that kind of fed my lust, like Nigeria and Saint Lucia, all around the Caribbean, and I was just like, wow, this is great. But then I fell out of love with wedding photography, and if I don't love something, I can't do it, and I would hate to shoot your wedding and not love what I'm doing. I feel like that's such a disgrace. So I took like another pivot year and just kind of figured out life. And then I took the grand step and the whisper to move to LA. And then we can breeze past that. But basically I started shooting and opportunities came for bigger companies, everybody from Disney to Target to HBO, different celebrities. And along that journey, I kept traveling. And this time I started putting things on Instagram and people just started falling in love with my travels. So ultimately, I started getting opportunities to host travel shows on CNN. I got opportunities to be on everything from Big Brother. I didn't do any of this. I turned a lot of things down. I even got an opportunity to be on The Bachelorette, and I said, "Hey,
Oh,
I don't know
oh,
if
that's
I'm a good
awesome.
candidate,
Right?
but here we go." And
Yeah.
but this whole time, I was not spiritual, Brooke. Like I had no spiritual, like, because remember around that time, that's when like The Secret came out, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody was doing vision boards
Yeah.
and talking about their horoscope. I was like, what are y'all talking about? Like, this is so stupid. Like, I literally, like, Brooke, I literally, when people talked about The Secret, I'd be like, could you please shut up? Like, I don't know what the law of attraction. This is so insane. And I was staunch. And I went back to, like, I was in my masculine so
Mhm.
deeply. So I was shooting and I was super successful. And I ended up hosting a travel show. I was in a commercial with, they flew me to Uganda and I'm in a commercial with James Corden. So it was just all the success that fed the ego, but where was the soul, you know?
Right. I
And
love what you just said. I love that part, but I also want to go back to the part where if you don't love what you do, you
yeah,
know you have to leave it. And I feel like so many people don't. They just do the daily grind or they want to stay complacent because maybe finances are good or they're scared. But you showing like you can do it if you set your mind to it and you don't, when you love it, it makes it even more rewarding.
it's
You
a lot
know?
of people on autopilot, and
Yeah, a
it's
lot.
how we're conditioned in this world. So I know even for you to go out on a limb and become a medium is, I know it was like,
Mm.
oh,
Mm. Oh, it still is because I live in the South, so it's not welcome that much. It's very
oh yeah,
hidden. I'm from California, so way different, mindset from one coast to the next. So yeah, I try to keep it a little more hidden. Trying
right.
not to get killed.
Burn at the stakes,
Yeah,
crazy.
witch hunt here. Like I'm good. But I love like your journey. And I love also what you said too when you were talking about, oh my God, these people are crazy. Like what are they doing? When you're not ready for spirituality, when you're not ready to dive in, it will always seem foreign or that it doesn't make sense or that it's foolish. But until you actually witness it, is when you have like, oh wow, that is real. Those people were not crazy. Like they were actually onto something that I just wasn't, my soul was not ready for yet to put
For
you in that
sure.
spot. So I love you saying that too. But then also to kind of fast forward, so you were actually doing a shoot in Malaysia, is that correct?
It wasn't Ghana.
I mean, in Ghana.
Yeah, but I got malaria.
Malaria, that's it. I'm sorry. You've been to so many countries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I have been to Malaysia.
Okay, I was like, I know that's on your list. I was like, there are so many others, which is fascinating. But you ended up getting malaria on this photo shoot. So how did you get to, who were you with on that photo shoot? Was this like the first time you ever been to that area? Was this all new? What was going on with that?
So this is an interesting part. So I happen to be African and from Liberia. My mother's from West Africa. And I've been to 23 countries in Africa. So I've traveled everywhere from did mission trips, I've done weddings out there, I've just done solo travel. And one thing that happens is every time I go, if I have to take malaria like prevention pills, I always get sick. So I just thought, I was like, I can't take any more malaria prevention. So that was the first mistake. And secondly, we were shooting the travel show. So this was the final episode of the travel show, but I got to back up just a little bit.
Okay.
So we were shooting the travel show from April of 2019 to August of 2019. And remember, I talked about the whisper to become a photographer and then the whisper to move to LA.
Mhm.
I got this other whisper in July. It was July 5th. I'll never forget. A couple days after your birthday. It
Mhm.
was July 5th. And I got this whisper that said, Elton, leave everything and travel the world for a year. And I said, what? And the whispers only come one time. And so from July to August, I just kept remembering that word. And I'm like, I guess I got to do it. And I just started thinking about like every time I heard this whisper, it was always the right thing to do. So I started to minimize my life. I gave away my car, my dream apartment, my furniture, all my clothes. And by the time we were ready to shoot the television show in Ghana, I had already condensed my whole life to one bag
Wow.
without even knowing that this was going to be the reason to do it. So we're
Right.
in Ghana. The shoot goes great. The time is great. The episode was amazing. And we come back. And I'm just back for like a couple days because my first plan was to live in a different country for 1 month, for 1 year. So it was, I would go to a different region, different country, and just live there and be and like do my YouTube channel. Like I wanted to be like a travel YouTuber. And so that was the idea. Um, so what happens with malaria is that malaria is a parasite, and it's a parasite that attaches to your red blood cells. And your red blood cells are in every part of your body, so your eyes, your legs, your liver, your kidneys, everywhere. And it takes about 1 to 2 weeks to kind of manifest in your body. So ultimately, I'm sitting here living with malaria in me for 2 weeks. I have no idea. And my first country on my year-long journey was actually Brazil. So I'm in Brazil. I'm hit the ground running. I'm climbing mountains. I am hang gliding. I'm eating all the food. I'm meeting people. I'm shooting episodes of my YouTube channel. And on the sixth day, I have never felt like that in my life. It was like my whole body shut down. I started going blind. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do
Oh,
any of these things. All of my motor functions were just failing. And it was like day 6 or 7. And this is September at this point. And uh, so I'm in there and I call my mother and I say, Mom, I think I'm about to die. I do not know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's going on. I told her all the symptoms. And the funny thing is, so I've always been such an independent kid. I'm a big brother. I'm headstrong. And so I never needed my parents. Like I never, like I would always be like, I don't need your help. I got this. This was the first time at the time I was 37. This is the first time that I ever needed my mother. And my mother was like, "Oh, baby, I'm ready. I've been waiting for this
she's been
my
waiting for
whole
this
life."
moment.
And I called my mom, let's say maybe like 11 a.m. She was on a plane by 8 p.m. and in Brazil the next day by 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And but during that night is when I had the NDE. So you want to get into that or you
Oh
want
yeah. Oh, I'm waiting.
to
I'm
That's why
waiting.
we're here.
Well, like what is fascinating is you literally sold everything. Like that's so vulnerable to let everything go down to one bag. And now you're
Yeah.
having like the time of your life, and now you can't see, you can't walk, you have no idea what's happening to you. You're not even in your home state or area. I mean, it's just unreal. So yeah, I want to know what did you see, feel, how like what happened? Because that
Yeah,
were you not panicking and like thinking like, am I dying like before you even died pretty much with this all going on with you?
it was scary. Like the words, because that's what activated my mother. I literally said, "Mom, I think I'm about to die." Like I could feel death in my
Wow.
body. It really, and the thing about malaria is it literally kills 70% of the people that get it, like 68 to 70%. So
Oh,
there's a 1 in 3 chance that I was going to live.
wow. I didn't
Because by
realize.
that time it had been in all parts of my body. So, because if you catch malaria quick, you got a better chance. But by this time, I didn't know I had it.
Right, you're just living life, doing
I'm
everything
just
you normally
living
do.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and had
So
no clue.
yeah, so this is so that was happening. And so even as I was going through the NDE, I didn't know what was happening. So basically that day I called my mother. That was like my last, I felt like that was like my last time talking to her. And I couldn't see maybe like I would say maybe 20% vision.
That's not a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know the
nothing
numbers.
pretty much. Yeah, that's like pretty much blind.
Right. And
Yeah.
I couldn't walk, but I just remember laying down and I don't know if it was like this space between like sleep and, you know, maybe it's given astral plane. I'm not sure. But all I remember is I don't know. I have no concept of time. And I am laying in the bed in this Airbnb in Rio de Janeiro by myself, don't know anybody else. And I remember that at one point, it was at nighttime. I remember that at one point, there were four figures over my body. And I
Oh,
remember they had a glow to them. And I remember they had a feminine energy. There was no masculinity to them. It was like flow. So it just seemed like even if they had hair, I can't remember, but what their aura was a flow. It was like, and I remember the height. So if I can explain it, it would say maybe like they might have been 7 feet tall and feminine, but they weren't touching the ground. It was crazy. And I remember specifically that I had a choice. And the choice was I could stay Earthside or I could go to the other side. And I remember it feeling like an ocean, but like an energetic ocean. And have you ever seen the movie Soul from Pixar?
no.
Oh, you got to check it out. It's such an amazing movie. It's a kid's movie, but it is the perfect description of what I experienced.
Oh, really?
It
Okay.
it is when I saw the movie, I cried. Like I cried. So don't tell anybody I cried, but I cried when I
Nobody
saw the
will
movie.
listen to that. They'll block that out.
Bleep that part out.
Oh, sure.
But I'm watching, so I'm in there and it felt like this huge energy. And I said on TikTok, I said I didn't see pearly gates, I didn't see clouds and angels, but what I did see was more of a feeling, and that feeling was just overwhelming love, overwhelming oneness, overwhelming peace, and just the it's crazy to think about it now, but it just felt like me infinitely, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Did it feel
And
warm or cold, or was there any sensations that you remember, or it was just there?
it was, I mean, it was a warmth, like it was a kind of warmth you feel from love.
Okay,
Does that
got
make
you.
sense?
Yeah, completely. Yes, it
Yeah,
does. Did
yeah.
they feel like familiar at all? Like you thought maybe they might be ancestors, or did you just feel like they might just be higher beings there to protect you?
It definitely felt like higher beings. Like I don't know if it was the Arcturians or the Palladians. I don't know what that is, but I started. It just felt like light and warmth and love.
Mm,
And
four of
but
them.
I remember it was four figures. That's the one thing I remember, and they were on each side of me, and they were my guides. And yeah, and so that happened. And again, that's like the most description I have of it. I wish
No,
I had
that's
more.
beautiful.
I wish I
No,
could go deeper.
no, that's beautiful. I want to know about the question though, when they asked you, do you want to stay or do you want to
Mhm.
go? Did you say, I don't want to stay
Yeah, I
with
was like, I
them?
want to live. I was like,
Right.
because the oneness felt great, but I really loved life, and I said I have a lot of life to live, and I was like, if I die, my mother will kill me, so I could not die.
Right?
like,
You're like, I need to do this on a different day because
like
that'd be for my mother, not you.
if I died, my mother would literally have been died too, and they came and killed me. Like, why would you die? So.
I love it.
Somehow I survived that moment, and I survived that moment, and um really for my mother. And so I remember she found my Airbnb. My mom's like this 5'1" Liberian woman, and she does not speak a lick of Portuguese because that's the language over there, but she found her way to me, and we got to the hospital. And luckily for me, that they had one of the best infectious disease hospitals in all of Brazil, not too far from where I was staying. And so I was in the hospital for seven days. But what I remember that really impacted me was the hospital didn't have like an extra bed in the room, and all they had were like two chairs for my mom to sit in. And I remember I was in and out of consciousness still. I felt like I was still double dutching back to the oneness, even because I had all these tubes in me and all the stuff in me. And again, I still couldn't. The site was still like maybe 30% now.
Wow.
But um, but I remember looking over on like the first night, and my mother was just asleep on the two chairs, like her back's here and her legs up. And I was like, wow, that is what love is. Like that, none of this other stuff, because I had been so, think about it, because I was so popular, everybody loved me. Everybody's like, "Oh, Elton, I love you. You're great. You're the funniest. You're good." You know, and I, in my masculine, that's in my ego, I thought that was the kind of love. I thought that was love.
Mhm.
But it took for me to die and then see that my mother was never going to leave my side. And I'm like, she came all the way to Brazil from just one phone call. And that just, even to this day, that is always like stuck with me of what love is. So even when I get love from other people, I receive it. Thank you. But are you going to sit in them two chairs for 7 days and until I live? That's what
Mhm.
love is. So that really what is what ultimately healed me during that time.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. There was four too. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
four
isn't it?
things. Yeah, because I can actually picture it as you were like talking about it, and just these huge, like white glowing
Hmm.
women that weren't touching four and just surrounding you. And I'm like, I wonder what the significance with the four is. I mean, that's
I
so
know.
like for there to be four is so significant. Where it's just like that's just so beautiful. And then for you to even remember that you got the option, like that they're willing to help you stay on Earth's side and not, pull you in. And like it wasn't, obviously, it wasn't your time, but there is nothing like a mother's love, like
No.
to get to, who you are no matter anything else. And I love that your mom did that. And did that actually grow your bond stronger with your mom since that's happened?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's just like this unspoken bond. But I've always been like a mother's boy. Like I'm just like her. And I would take my mom on trips every year. So I took her to the Philippines before. I took her to
Wow.
Bahamas, just me and her. And even though
Oh,
my mom, like we would leave my dad and my sister out of it and just me and my mom. So we've always kind of had our own bond.
right.
I think that it was strengthened at that point too.
Yeah. I think
And
that's amazing.
she, I mean, yeah, so that was interesting. And then so after that, I went back to America after I kind of healed up a little bit, but it took a month for me to like fully get all of my functions back.
Wow.
And that is when I started to really get into spirituality finally.
Right. And you were not raised religious or have any
I
religious
mean,
background.
we were religious. We were Christians and like we would go to church.
Okay, so you did have somewhat of a like a religious kind of background.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, the concept of religion never really landed with me.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Like
I understand that.
I believe in God. I'm not atheist or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But church
Mm-hmm.
and organized religion, it just never even it's just as young as when I knew I was gay, was just as young as I knew that I appreciated it for the parables and the lessons, but
Mm-hmm.
the idea that this stuff was real, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
a very skeptical human being. I am so skeptical of everybody. So even if I was a viewer listening to me talk, I'd be like, he ain't really died. Like I would literally, I'm just skeptical.
Right. I think that's good. Healthy skepticism is good. That's why we say healthy
Exactly.
skepticism is good. But I agree with the church. I do believe there's
Mhm.
ulterior motives, and I do believe in God and a higher power or whatever you want to call them. So, I mean, it's interesting that you were kind of, not raised completely, but there's that religious background there too. And then you dive into the spiritual side where it's like you saw stuff that you just can't even explain or feel or
Right.
how you're even sitting here right now doing what you're doing because of what you've been through.
Yeah. And I think it was just meant for me to happen. Like a lot of my life has been kind of like meant to happen.
Uh-huh.
And the more that I surrender, the more I see that happens. And so so when I got back, I would say the first book I read was Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now.
Mhm.
Then I started reading this book by David R. Hawkins called Power versus Force. I started listening to Wayne Dyer, Abraham Hicks,
Mhm.
Dolores Cannon,
Yeah.
uh, Neville Goddard. I just kept going down all the list of these like mystics and uh, spiritual people, and I watched a lot of YouTube spiritual people, and I started learning about my zodiac. So I'm like a Pisces sun, a Cancer moon, and a Scorpio rising. So I'm
Oh,
all water.
yeah. Oh,
I'm literally all
No,
water.
that's why you get those whispers and you're so in tune. It's like exactly where you're supposed to be at this moment. Yeah.
It's yeah, it's that's what I was like, so the more rabbit holes I went down, I was like, that's why I am. And then that's what led me to human design. But the story's still going because we could talk about the Bali era
Let's
if
go. Let's do it. I'm ready.
okay.
I want to hear it all, Elton. I
Okay.
want to hear your whole everything.
Okay. So I was knee deep in spirituality, and this is like September, October of 2019. So we're still in 2019,
Okay.
6 months before the pandemic. And so I was like, I'm still not giving up. I was like, I'm gonna get my weight back up. I lost 25 pounds. I had my abs were popping, so I was like, "Ooh, I look good." But I said, "You know what? Let me get back on the road." So I got back on the road and I went back to Brazil this time, and I started my travels. I did like a month or two in Brazil. Then I went back to Ghana actually for the
Wow.
New Year's that year. Uh, and because I was part of this big travel group, I took my malaria pills this time.
I was going to ask, and I
Uh,
figured you did.
and then I said, okay, so at top of 2020, I was going to start my journey officially. And I went to my base at that point was Cambodia. And so I traveled around Myanmar, Laos. I love that country. You ever go to Laos? It's one of my favorites. Then I said February I want to spend in Africa. So I went to South Africa, Namibia, Rwanda, and all of these places I'm by myself. Like I'm sleeping in tents. I am sleeping in tree houses. I am literally like on this sojourn because of the NDE. Now I feel like I am on a new timeline. I feel like I'm zero. I feel like I'm born again. So now this travel bug is like hit so different. And I remember uh for March, the same time that the pandemic started, I said I want to spend a month in India because I just love India. And one of the most insane moments of my life happened. So I go to India, but a friend told me to go to this place called Goa in India. And I went to Goa, and Goa is this beachside town in southwest India. It's beautiful, and it's like a hippie town. So back in the 60s and 70s, this is where all the hippies went during like the summer of love, the Aquarius loving era. And when I got to Goa, Brooke, no lie, I said, I have been here before. Never in my life have I felt a place like I have been in this place before. I just felt it. I was like, this is my place. And that is the moment when I found out I felt like I am reincarnated from a white woman that was a
Oh,
hippie back in the 60s and 70s.
hey, I believe that shit. I believe.
I say it on TikTok. I made a TikTok about it. I was like, because literally, Brooke, my connection to white women, especially like over 40 white women, is insane. Like every over 40 white woman I meet, we can sit and talk for hours. Some of my best friends, to this day, I still talk to two of my best friends that are like over 40 white women. We talk every day. We talk about spirituality, human design, like everything. So that was the craziest part in Goa, and I had the most amazing birthday gift ever in Goa, India. So the morning of my birthday, I'm still healing. I'm still like, what am I going to do with my life? Because I don't want to be a photographer and I can't be the weird spiritual guy. So I'm just like in this almost purgatory. So I remember I woke up, my birthday is March 5th. I woke up in tears and I was on the beach, but it wasn't like sad tears. It was just like, the healing tears that happens. And after I cried for like 2 hours, I said, let me go get a smoothie because I'm dehydrated. And there's like this row of like the beachside towns, there's like the rows of smoothie shops and restaurants. And I just go to the first one that I see. It's packed, Brooke, and it's like so many people in there. And so I order my smoothie, and there's one seat left in the whole place. It's two girls and a guy. And so I sit next to them. I'm like, hey, is it cool if I sit here? I'm just waiting on a smoothie. They're like, no, it's no problem. So the two girls, I forgot where they were from, and the guy, he was from New York. And we had a very similar story. He said he had started traveling in September. He was working on Wall Street, and he went to go do a meditation retreat of Vipassana. And he was just telling me all his stories. He's like, I've been traveling around India. I went to different parts of the world. I fell in love with a woman, then I broke up with her. Like he was telling me his whole story. And the girls were like, because he had just met the girls, and the girls were like, but tell him what today is. And he was like, it's my birthday. And I was like, wait. I was like, March 5th is your birthday? Like right now, like today in India, it's your birthday. And he was like, yeah, it's my birthday. I said, it's no fucking way. This is my birthday too. So it's like it was so like I get chills when I think about it because like Brooke Ann, it was insane. It was no other seats in that restaurant. And I know I literally have friends with my same birthday, but to meet a complete stranger
Mhm.
on our same birthday
Yeah,
in Goa, India
right.
was like the biggest sign to me that I am doing the right thing. Like, and it felt like this is the first birthday of my new life
Oh my
and I got the greatest gift that I could ever get.
Yeah.
And we ended up, his name was Connor. He was like, Connor's 10 years younger than me. So Connor's 26, cute little white kid. So me and him ended up traveling around
Stop.
three.
No, you didn't.
We had to. We were like, what the fuck? Like, we had to. So me and Connor literally traveled around India for like 3 or 4 days together. Just literally just us two.
Oh, that's
And we did
so
these
neat.
little, they had these seeds in India that if you take them, they activate and they give you like an LSD trip. So we're doing Indian LSD
Oh
seeds
my God.
in the friggin' waterfalls. And I'm just like, what is life? Like, I don't even know you. Who are you? Who am I? So
But you're right where you put like I want to be you when I grow up. Like when I grow up, Elton, I want to be you because like you have lived so much life and experienced so much, and for you to just click, knowing that trusting the universe, your higher self, and like going there and knowing it feels like home, and then
it was
meeting
crazy.
somebody in the same moment that shares your birthday. Like, come on now, you cannot
That's
make this shit up. Like,
exactly, Brooke Ann. That's what I said. I was like, you cannot make this shit up. Like, this is, and it was like,
right. You don't
it's
need
like,
to sign. You got them. Like they're just handing them to you. Like you don't even have to. You don't even have to ask. It's just like here you go, 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 Elton. Here's another sign. Here's another
it was
sign.
like, because I knew the universe had to make this undeniable because I had to become the spiritual guy. Because, like, you know how, like, you ever watch The Office?
No,
You never watch The Office? Oh,
no.
okay. It's like this. They have this thing they do like when something weird happens, they look into the camera. And that's how I felt. I felt like I was looking into the camera of reality. Like every time something happened like that, I was just look off like I'm looking into the camera of reality. Like
I've seen the
again,
memes. Is it Steve
yeah,
Carell that's like,
yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
those, so I can picture like what you're saying.
That's their thing.
You're like looking at the your guides in the universe, like really?
Like for real. So yeah, and then and I'm leaving out a ton of other synchronicities, but I just wanted to tell that one because that's the big one. But it was
Oh,
like every 5 seconds, just another one. And so then we separated ways. Maybe like 3 or 4 days later, and then I went to Holy Festival where they throw the paint on people, and then the world shut down, and I had a choice. I said I could stay in India, but I was like, let me go to Bali. So it was March 14th, and that was the last day Bali was open. So I hopped on the plane immediately and flew to Bali, and then was stuck there for 14 months
wow. What an awful place to be stuck for 14 months.
during the pandemic. Boo hoo.
I bet it was fabulous. And is that where you really dove into, really
Yeah.
took the time to like really hone in and be like, this is real. Like this is happening for a reason. I'm supposed to be here more than what I was doing. Like you still have work to do and people's lives to touch and to change and yourself too. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's fascinating that you had that NDA And then you actually had the time to really dive in because of COVID. Like there was a lot of bad things with COVID, but there was a lot of good things with COVID. And it changed a lot of people's lives. And if you've noticed, a lot of people started becoming more spiritual. Their
Yeah.
journey started 2020, 2021.
Hmm.
People had a major shift, not the NDE stuff, but just
Yeah.
questioning what is to this life. Is there more? Is there more than what is physically in front of us? And I think it's fascinating that you actually trusted what was happening because if you hadn't, your life would be totally different.
Yeah, and I had to trust. I knew I couldn't go back, and it was just a lot of surrender. It was just surrender after surrender after surrender, and that's when. But Bali was life changing for a million reasons. But I would say even in Bali, I tried to be alone. I tried to be like this mysterious guy off because whoever was there was like we were locked in. It was almost like a college campus because it was like people from all over the world there, like, but the digital nomads, but we were just trapped and nobody could come
Mhm.
and nobody go out. So it's people from, so some of my best friends are from Australia, Korea, Ukraine,
Wow.
Sri Lanka, Switzerland, like literally
Wow.
my, if you'd have saw pictures of my friend group, it was like United Nations, Canada, everywhere. And it was the first time because I had grew up in Detroit, went to a historically black college. So I didn't really have friends that weren't black.
Right.
This
No,
was
the
the first time in my
diversity.
life that I had to meet my white girlies and my Asian girlies and
Have
my
some diversity in there with some friendship.
Australian bros and everybody. And I'm like, this is so like Brooke Ann, it was just day after day. I'm like, why am I just all these things? Like I'm supposed to be opened up to all the races and I'm supposed
Yeah.
to learn about this. And I'm doing shrooms. I never even done shrooms before. I'm doing DMT and I'm doing breath work. I'm doing yoga. I'm doing cacao ceremonies. Like I'm doing all of the things. And I'm like, what is going like it was not real and then it was just great like I ended up getting really close to a lot of people that were in alignment and in abundance and
Mhm.
and so I really feel like spirituality and wealth consciousness go hand in hand, so that's why a big part, and we'll get to that in a second, but I
Right.
just want to say that's a big part of why um I really wanted to build this media company because media controls everything. And
Mhm.
so if I have a media company that is grounded in spirituality and grounded in raising the consciousness, then, you know, I think all of these events happen because you think about it. I was on television before,
Mhm.
not even trying, like literally the opportunities fell in my lap. So I was being groomed to be in front of the camera. Even though I
Okay.
was a photographer, I was
Oh no,
groomed.
you were made for the camera. Let me tell you, you
I
were made
know.
for the
Oh,
camera.
brother. Oh, brother. So but it was because even that, like, we have to go back to that. Like, you got to think about this, Brooke, and I was comfortable behind the camera because I was still, even though I was out at this point in my life,
Mhm.
I didn't have I wasn't proud. You know, so I didn't have the
Right.
courage to just be like, oh, I'm gay and stand fully embodied.
Right.
So to be put in front of the camera with no spiritual anchor
Mhm.
and still fighting the shame of being gay, that was pretty terrifying. So it wasn't actually easy, even though people do always say I'm a natural. I was like, but what the hell am I doing here? And then it was when I got to Bali, I still was in this like dark night of the soul. Like I was still hiding out from people. But people would keep finding me. They were just like, Elton, it's just like, come on. Like I went there by myself and was hiding out. And I ended up leaving with like 50 friends that I still talk to. And I'm like, oh, brother. And again, I don't, none of this goes to my head or my ego or any of that. This is a duty. This is a responsibility.
Hmm.
Whatever charisma I have, whatever I have, it is not to get myself gain. I have lived that life.
Hmm.
I have done that. And now this is my responsibility to help people feel seen, heard, understood, and felt. And one of my favorite things, and why I'm so honored to be here just speaking with you, is this energy exchange. I think that I don't think that 1 + 1 = 2. I always think that 1 + 1 = 3 because you and I create this third energy that is going to travel to all of your viewers, all of my viewers, and just people, and just help raise the consciousness just by us two sitting here and exchanging energy. And I don't take that lightly. And I love the comment section of my TikTok because if any of your viewers want to see, like, people come to my TikTok comments and leave their whole life story.
Hmm.
And I have been saying that I want to create the safest space on the internet. That's my goal. I want to have a digital real estate business that where people could come and share their stories and feel safe because so many people don't want to get on TikTok and record,
Hmm. Oh
but they'll
yeah,
come
it's
to my
scary.
comment section and tell a whole life story,
Right.
which I think is beautiful. So so what I do know is that, like, just like the Spider-Man quote is, with great power comes great responsibility. And
Hmm.
so whatever thing I have, I'm just happy that I get a chance to share it with everybody. And I have been journaling about being on podcasts. I said I'm ready. I want to be on podcasts, and then voila, here we are.
Boom. But I think people can feel your genuineness through the camera and your vulnerability with who you are. And it's so sad when you were like, when you were behind the camera and you have that shame of being gay. And it's like, that's so sad. And I'm so glad that you've overcome it because so many people are still in those feelings that you had. And it shouldn't be that way. And you give them that safe space where they might not want to make videos because it is scary. It is very scary putting yourself out there to the world and a lot of times it could be more negative than positive, not all the time, but sometimes, especially being a different way, and you are giving people a safe space to tell their story because of who you are, because you can feel the love radiate off of you and just you being you. I can tell it's not for fame. I can tell it's not your ego. I can tell, you're just sitting on there telling your story, which is absolutely fascinating because I only know one other person that's kind of lived a life like you. Not quite. You have done way more than he will ever do. And he's actually a gay man as well. And
Hey.
yeah, and he's fascinating. He's like in his early 80s, but he was a photographer for the Travel Channel or like
Oh.
way back in the day, right? Like way back. And he travels the world and I'm like, and you putting yourself out there genuinely and just telling your story. I mean, it is absolutely fascinating. You touch my life. I'm like in awe of everything that you've done or that you do or things that you have talked about today in the podcast. And you can really just feel like you truly love what you do. And you truly are embodying your whole self, your whole soul. You embrace everything about who you are and what you love, and it shows. I have to tell you, it truly shows, and it shows on camera, it shows today, and that's what it's about because the things that you love to do truly make a difference, and you can tell, and you are just going to continue changing people's lives by just being you.
I appreciate that, Brikan. The blushing is real, but I think that you're in the same boat. You're in this platform and you honoring your talents and your gifts. I just love it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to learn as much about you as you me too. So I think I just feel blessed to be able to be in this digital space, in your digital safe space,
Mhm.
and chit chatting as well.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So there's like so many questions. I'm like, I could go on and on and on.
We
And
got a little bit more time. We got some more time.
you do, because
We
I
got
kind of
time.
want to know. So, because there's some questions. So I still want to know, do you still talk to Connor?
Yeah, so yeah, me and Connor, we talk on our half birthday. every year. So we send a little
Awesome.
text
Okay, I needed to know
on
that.
September 5th and then March 5th.
On your birthdays? Perfect.
Yeah.
I just needed to go back to that because I want to know if you still talked. The friends that you made in Bali, did they help elevate your spiritual journey at all? Were some of them curious as well, or were they doing things that you were like, oh, I want to try that? Or, did you guys kind of not only the friendships and not being close and doing the shrooms and all that stuff, but like, did they help introduce things to you in the spiritual side that you might not have been familiar with, that they opened you up to?
Yeah, yeah. Some of them's like because I would say I had like six close friends out there, and then there was a lot of ancillary people that kind of did it. But of the six close friends, one of my close friends, she was a breathwork uh,
Okay.
uh, person,
Like a
coach,
facilitator for
facilitator. Yeah, that's the
growth
word.
work.
And then another friend, he had me do the DMT. So he hooked me up with that person.
Can you
And
explain DMT to the viewers?
okay, so DMT is I forgot the actual name of it,
That's okay.
but basically it comes from the DMT I did is called Bufo, and
Okay.
it comes from the secretions of the Colorado river toad, and
Oh!
so these secretions let you go on this like hallucination journey that is like as close to death as you can get.
You already been there
But
though.
right. But and I was scared to do, I was so terrified. I was like,
Oh,
oh
I
my
bet.
gosh. I was like, and my buddy Jason at the time, he was like, LT, you can't go in there scared. He had told me he had like had let go all this stuff and it was like all right. And he had another his girlfriend at the time, she had like let go because you do it to release. It's just like it's the same thing that's in ayahuasca. I have not done
Oh,
ayahuasca,
okay. One of my friends does that.
but like it's the same kind of thing like
Right.
DMT, ayahuasca. DMT or Bufo is much faster. Like the Bufo session is like instant. It's like 0 to 1,000 in like 10
Whoa.
seconds. And the whole like my whole journey was maybe like an hour total.
Okay.
And while it was happening, my facilitator was playing sound bowls and I got to walk around her facility, and then a butterfly started
Hmm.
flying by me. So I went and got a butterfly tattoo,
Oh, I love that.
and I felt this sense of love, but it did not feel like the NDE.
Hmm. Yeah.
It
Oh, it's
felt
different.
it didn't feel like the NDE, but it was a nice it was a good experience. I don't feel the need to do it again. Much
Right.
like mushrooms, I used to do because mushrooms they just grow out there in Bali. Like you could just go into the get a coconut and get some mushrooms.
Mhm.
And I did a lot of mushrooms, but right now I don't feel like I need, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I got all the
Mhm.
information. Like for my NDE, I got my information I needed. From
Right.
mushrooms, I got my information. From DMT, I got my information.
Right.
And but yeah, other than that, I just needed friendship at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
That was all
definitely.
I needed.
And then, so how did you kind of get into that with the friends in Bali and being there for so long, into being an intuitive human design analyst? Like, I want to know
Yeah.
that. Like, you tried, sounds like you tried everything, right? Like breath work
Yes.
and yoga and
Hmm.
all these other modalities of spirituality. And how did you get into it? And what was the draw that really made you, be like, this is it? Like, this is me.
So the human design was so interesting. So there was so I had a buddy. So Bali had opened up a little bit, and a good friend of mine is a meditation teacher. His name is Justin. And so he had came over. There was like a little window for them to come over. So he came over and it was still kind of shut down. And he had new friends or had new other facilitators there. And he hit me up. He said, Elton, I have this woman you have to meet. Like, like, you have to meet her. He was like, I will not take no for answer. Like, you have to meet her. I was like, okay, cool. So I meet her. Her name is Jazz. She goes by Jazz, the Moon Mother. And have you ever met somebody when you get into their aura, it's
Hmm.
like whoa, like
You just
powerful
know.
energy, like
Yeah. You
whoa.
can feel it.
Yeah. And Jazz, her story is amazing. Like her husband and her two kids, they were like on welfare because she's
Oh,
black and her husband's white, and her husband's family didn't like him marrying a black girl, so they shunned him from the family, and
oh.
like they were just trying to figure it out. And then she found human design, and she ended up scaling her business to like 30, $40,000 a month. I was like, what?
Wow. Go girl.
Right. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So but she was beautiful, tall, bald headed, just
Sounds like,
powerful.
yeah.
And I met her and her husband, and I was just like, I couldn't stop talking to them. Like it was just the coolest people ever. And they were like a little bit younger than me. So I was 37 or 38 at the time. And they were like 33, 32. And I was just like, wow. And so she told me about human design. And I'm like, what is that? And I would say that human design drew me in because it is an experiment. It's not like a belief system.
Hmm.
It's not like religious at all. It is a structure of your actual energy body. It's a blueprint of your body. And so for me, I think I got a little bit of autism, like just a little pinch of it, a
I
little
think
bit
we
of
all do.
neurodivergence. And so it was the perfect blend of spirituality and logic in
Right.
one setting because I could see these numbers and these
Mhm.
gates. I could see these how the energy flowed, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have never been so obsessed with something so quickly in my life. Not even photography. And all right, Jasmine, you got to teach me everything you know. And at the time, I had a podcast, and guess what my podcast was called?
What?
So I'm from Detroit, right?
Okay.
So the podcast was called Detroit Chopra.
Oh, okay, I love it.
So that was my little spiritual ego, like trying to be like Deepak.
That's awesome
And
though.
so I had her on the episode, and then it was one of my favorite episodes of my podcast. And I was interviewing a lot of the spiritual people on the island. And yeah, I just got obsessed. And then I took a facilitator's course that she did. It was a year long, and that was from 2021 to 2022. And now we still get interesting. Now, still the story still this a roller
Turn.
coaster. I'm remembering everything that I'm telling to you.
I love it.
So I was obsessed with human design, and I was sort of reading, pulling everybody's chart, trying to read the charts. But then my time to Bali came to an end at the tail November of 2021. And so when I get back to America, I'm like, yo, human design, you got to do it. Everybody was like, what the hell are you talking about? Just like I was with people with the secret.
Yep.
That's how people was when I was in human design. And
Hmm.
so the reception for it was just not there. And so I started becoming more and more embarrassed. I started becoming feeling more and more weird. And I was like, damn, I got to be a photographer again. So I moved back to LA. After this whole epic story, I moved back to LA in 2022 and became a photographer again. And that was my real dark night of the soul. Because for those 3 years, I was depressed. Life felt so heavy. I had went from being on Bali and barefoot and sipping coconuts to being in LA smoking weed every day, having empty sex,
Hmm.
being just the lowest version of myself, popping pills, partying, like literally all of the cleanliness. I was vegan in freaking Bali.
Hmm.
And I come back here and I'm like ruining myself.
Yeah.
And it was so heavy. And because even at one point, um, my clients for human design were like huge people. Lenny Kravitz was one of my clients.
Oh, nice.
I did readings for him. Like me and him would be on the phone like this for hours. I had a lot of high ticket clients. as well, like millionaires and billionaires that needed esoteric,
Hmm.
esoteric guides. So it was cool, but then when I got back to America, it just kind of fizzled out. So I got super depressed, like the most depression I've ever had. And I left LA in May of this year. I started my TikTok October last year, and I was just like not talking about like my story, just like so embarrassed to talk about it. So I was just talking about stupid stuff like, oh, what about this cereal is great, like just just stupid stuff. and and I was like, Elton, you're not being yourself. You're not being authentic because I thought the authentic me was the photographer.
Right.
He did. He been dead. He died in
Hmm.
2019.
Yeah.
The authentic me was who you now see.
Yeah.
And I left LA in May and I moved back in with my parents. But then I said, let me at least try one more time to be a photographer or artist. I moved to New York from July to November. Same thing. I just still depressed, still making TikTok, still just depressed. And finally
Hmm.
I said, Elton, stop it. Like you have to step into, and during the time I was dropping like little spiritual nuggets here and there.
Hmm.
And the responses started getting okay. And I was like, okay, TikTok is safe. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm a big promoter of like, be yourself on TikTok because it's
Hmm.
safe.
Yeah.
Because Instagram isn't a safe place for spiritual people. Not for real, because Instagram's more aspirational
Okay.
and more egoic. And I feel like TikTok is more inspirational and you can go through a transformation process. You can show up as your authentic self. And so, yeah, I moved back down here in Miami with my parents in November.
Yeah.
And literally, I had a like crash out because on one of my TikToks, I was like, oh, life is just so boring. And I just feel like I'm nihilistic. And I was just like I just got on there and just trauma dumped on TikTok. But like it was like a spiritual and then literally that video went viral.
Yeah. It took
It was
off.
like 60,000 plus maybe 80,000 people. And they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like that. And I was like, okay. So then I started talking more and I was like, well, maybe I could tell my near-death experience story.
Hmm.
And I did like when I died. So it's a series. I did like a when I died part one. That went a little viral. And I did when I died part two. That went a little viral. They're all like there.
Hmm.
But then the one that you found me on was when I died part three.
Yes.
And that was like, I think last week. It was like a week or two ago. It wasn't even.
Well, I had already followed and liked your other. That was just when I
Uh,
had the courage to actually like write because I was like, he's never gonna see this.
oh.
Like, I had already seen one of your videos and I was like, okay. And then another one popped up and I was like, I'm just gonna reach out. And then I went to your page and then you messaged right away. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he responded.
Cause
But
I
no,
was, cause Brooke Ann, I was ready. I was ready. You get what I'm saying? Like it
yes,
was the universe telling me I was ready to be seen again because I was
definitely.
hiding myself and I was coping. And yeah, the part three was 6 days ago.
Yeah. Wow, really? Okay.
I'm like looking at it now. I'm like,
I love it.
wow.
But I love your story because I can relate to that where you go from being unhealed to healed to unhealed. And a lot of times when we're unhealed or we're in that, dark soul of the night, we go to drugs and alcohol. We go to
Yeah.
places that we think we're just suppressing everything, our emotions, or we feel bad about ourselves. And then you go back to being healed again. And usually, when we're healed or we've done the inner work, we let go of all of those outside things that lower our vibration or make us feel like they're helping in the moment. And then after the fact, you just feel like pure shit and trash. And it makes it even worse,
Uh,
our feelings after the
yeah.
fact of, stuff like that. So I love that and you even knew like what you were doing, like, oh, I guess I'll just do this, even though you had already had all these amazing experiences. But I think that's part of our journeys to go back into things that don't serve us or that we know that we shouldn't be in, but we don't trust it. So we go back to what's familiar. We go back to, okay,
Mhm.
why probably this just is my life. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then I love that you got over the fact of being embarrassed all of that because you have opened yourself up to probably more than you would like, but of like an influx of everybody jumping on you. Like I said earlier, you are the honey to the bees.
I,
We are all the bees flocking for a little bit of your honey.
I
And
am laughing.
and I just love, what you do, and I would love to have you on again at some point to just talk about the human design aspect of it. How does that work? Because that is something I'm not familiar with at all.
I can't wait to talk about that.
I don't have a lot of knowledge of human design. I did see your post, and people are like, I'm a 1 in 5, or I'm a 2 in 4. And I'm like, I have no idea. But, and I also want to point out too of your journey, you were talking about how you were skeptical, right? Because it's
Mhm.
you can't see it.
Yeah,
But I love that human design brought it to you because not only is it showing you that it's real, but it's also tangible. So it's something you can touch, it's something you can see, it's something you can feel, but then that double validates that it is part of who we are. Like there are soul purposes and we are the way we are for a reason, not just because. And have you ever heard of cardology?
of course. I'm a five of spades.
Oh, I'm a double
It,
king. Oh
really?
yes, because I
Oh,
have all
what
my
that
own.
mean?
I'm the lady that does my cards. She lives in Florida, and I do my cards every 7 weeks. And I'm a double king, so my birth card's a king of hearts, and then I'm a king of diamonds for my planetary card. And she goes, "Do you own businesses?" And I said, "I do." And she's like, "You have such male energy." And I said, "I know. I'm very much in charge of my life." And so that was fascinating how accurate, because I was like, you would love cardology because that is very tangible, like the human
Yeah, I love
design then.
cardology. But
Yes,
you, I'm looking at your human design. We have to do another episode. I'm looking at your human design
I
chart
love it.
now, and you are a manifester. In fact, you are an emotional manifester. So manifestors only make up about 9% of the population. So you know how like everybody's like, oh, I'm manifesting this, I'm only You are part of 9% of the world that
Oh,
can actually do the thing called manifesting because your energy is literally like it's almost like I like to say that when manifestors like come on this earth, you all are like the kings and queens of Egypt. Like the
oh
back in the
wow.
day, you would be like the Cleopatras and you would be the people that would be sitting on top of the pyramids and making sure that okay, we need pyramids, make it happen. Like so, you're the guys, you're the people that would initiate your energy is initiating. So when you come against somebody like myself who's a generator, we tend to do what you say. You're like, okay, be on my podcast. I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Oh, I like that. No, that's cool. I didn't know that. And you know, it's funny. I always say I have manifested everything in my life. It
Yeah.
might not be right away, but if I have a goal in mind, it might take a few years to get there because I know it happens in
Mhm.
divine timing. But I didn't know I was an act. So, like my life, is it like a life path or it's just like what I'm born in? I'm a
So
manifester.
there's this you got to do a deep dive. So
I know. We need to do a whole
basically
nother
with
episode at some point.
I'll give you a really quick overview. So
Okay.
in human design, there's a type. So there's only five types. So remember I
Okay.
said you were only 9% of the population. I'm a generator. We're like 70% of the population. So we're
Okay.
like the worker bees. We have all this energy. You don't have consistent sacral energy. In fact,
Oh,
you have a completely open sacral center as I'm looking at your chart. And so that means that you're not here to work hard. You are not here to do physical work. Like that's why your job as a medium and doing this is just you get up, put on this microphone and that's that's like the length of your but that's you're operating in your kind of like energy type because um you are supposed to be the one that is the host. You're supposed to be the one that is coming in and doing the calls and then go to sleep and then rest. Like
right.
resting is very important to you because your signature energy is peace.
Yep.
And so when you're not at peace, if something's off, because every manifester has one thing that they're supposed to do, whatever it is. I don't know what your thing is, but you have one thing you're supposed to do, and it's almost like a bullet train. So imagine if a bullet train is like, I'm going from here to China. That's what I'm supposed to do. If
Okay.
anything throws off that bullet train off the track, then it's a whole train wreck. And so, what manifestors, when they're not in their energy, they can get angry because it's like, I'm only supposed to do this thing, and you messed up my piece. So
I can
that's
understand that.
so that's the energy of a manifester. And you have then the next thing is called an authority. So your authority could be sacral, it could be ego, it could be throat, not throat, but it could be mental. And but your authority is emotional.
Hmm.
So you have to inform people. So that's your strategy. You have to inform people before you initiate. So you can tell people what to do, but you got to say, hey, I want you on the podcast. I'm just letting you know that these are the days, these are the times, instead of trying to be like, you got to be here, So it's like you got to give people as much information as possible, and that's what you did. Like even the invitation and the emails, I was always really expectant of your emails because they were just informational, and then your greatest gift is gift 39, and so you are here to provoke people with consciousness though. So you're
Oh,
supposed to get people to start thinking and
see
and
that.
elevate to another level. And you're definitely supposed to be somebody. And the last thing I'm gonna say, because I gotta show this to you, you
Yeah.
have this line called the money line, and this is like what rich, wealthy millionaires have.
I'm ready.
Like, yeah. So you got a lot of good energy in here. I'm looking
Yeah.
like, damn, she is
That's awesome. I'll take it.
amazing.
I love it
Whoa.
though. That's so cool though. Like just yeah, whole nother episode with you with the
Yeah.
human design. And I just can't thank you enough for being here today, telling your story. And if there was like real quickly, because I know we're like running out of time, but if there was one piece of advice you could give to anybody listening, what would it be on their journey?
I- let me think. I would say that you have a gift. You know you ignore this gift every single day. I would say please stop being selfish with your gift because the world needs you. The world needs to hear your voice. Your fractal, your soul tribe, your people are waiting for you. So please stop denying us of who you are. I know it's scary. I know it feels lonely. I know you feel weird, but we really need you out here. And that's what I got to say.
That was perfect. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. It was absolutely wonderful meeting you, hearing your story. I look forward to more episodes. Human
Yeah.
design. I don't know what a fractal relationship is. That's a whole nother episode. Or add that into the human
But
design.
yeah, tell the people where they can find me. They can find me
Yeah.
on everything is Elton L10. It's like Elton, but L10.
I like it.
RAW, Elton Raw. And the raw isn't anything nasty or freaky. Raw stands for reality is already written. So
Oh, nice.
I really believe that our reality is already written. We just have to remember who we are.
Yes.
And that's what life is the deconditioning process to remember who you are in this big, infinite, beautiful reality and to get back to it. So check out my YouTube. I explain a lot of these things and I share a lot of human design and just life lessons. And then on my TikTok, I'm just saying whatever comes to my brain. So be prepared.
I love it. So they can find you on YouTube, TikTok,
Mhm.
you have your email, and then are you on Instagram or anywhere else as well?
If you find me on Instagram, then you found me, but I don't.
Okay, no worries. I will also,
If
I
you look
always
that hard, you can find me.
I always include all of everything in every episode of where you can find everybody too, in case you guys are driving while listening. And I just want to thank you again. I appreciate your time and you and your energy. And thank you for everybody listening in today. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, have a beautiful day.
Yes, thank